First of all, I just want to start saying, in every of my videos, I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you, God. It's important for me to start my videos like that. I've made a lot of videos. Not a lot of them are posted, but it's the same. First of all, I also want to say thank you for those who continue expose the reality of what's happening here as Target Video. Even though a lot of what's at this point, a lot of Target Video know what's happening, but it's good to have this like extra validation that helps you combat these games of rewiring your brain and try to get you to accept this. And for me, it has given me the strength I needed. And when I face this trash, it's becoming even easier, and I gotta calm down, but it is easier to see them for what they are. And a lot of them think that the best thing to negate that is to cover up the reality, and they think they can cover up the reality by just being forcibly challenged mentally. With me, it's so disgusting because they do the exact same manipulation that's in this documentation. This documentary is mentioned to a level that's so scary, because if you haven't watched this video, the name of this is called let me see if I have the name of it, but it's the Cognitive Liberty video. You'll see the link. I'll put the link in this video, and it's a documentary that was made that was released on the May 5th of this year. And basically the documentary is about Target Video and what we deal with, and it's just the validation that at this point I knew. It's good to hear others saying the exact same thing in regard of like even the specifics that I perhaps didn't even speak about it, but just another validation. I've talked about all the different things as a Target Video I deal with. I'm a DTI, a Target Individual who deal with V2K and synthetic telepathy on top of the gang stalking and whatnot, but that becomes a little bit obsolete because the truth is, once you get hit with this advanced level of technology, the rest becomes a little bit less impactful. So you don't even pay too much attention about that. But the V2K, the synthetic telepathy, and obviously the damaging of my body and my health via these dark energy weapons is really what is the most destructive at this point. And they use the same tactics. And with this video, those tactics are called out. Some of them in very specific ways. They talk about the dream manipulation and how dream manipulation can be even used to reinforce the programming. Which I've said it. I was like, in these dreams, it's not only they're just not only making you have these dreams, but it's like the dreams are meant to condition you. I just had some disgusting dreams where they first have sexual dreams and then the sexual dreams turn into something else to kind of condition me toward children in this disgusting way. They've been doing that for a long time. It's like they rewire your brain in this disgusting way. They do this pedophilia type of torture. Well called out. Let me just show you how scary things get. These clowns wanted, and still trying at this point, to counter that. When the validation
into their head daily, the thoughts are all
the validation becomes this level.
the sorts of things that it uses to destroy you.
At first they were saying a lot of homosexual things to me. Once that really didn't fly, as far as, getting me mad or whatever, they switched over to talking a lot about pedophilia, and that was happening a lot.
Automated torture 24/7.
If you follow my videos, you hear that this is the tactics they utilize to break me down. But they do that a lot to other Target Video. This documentary was released a few weeks ago, or last week maybe. They attack the mind in these disgusting ways and torment you. And as this man said it very well,
thoughts and inserting thoughts. Sometimes you hear voices, some people hear voices, putting emotions into your head and using all this information to drive you crazy, to torture you.
They're saying these things like, oh,
Thoughts and inserting thoughts. Sometimes you hear voices, some people hear voices, putting emotions into your head and using all this information to drive you crazy.
inserting thoughts, which is funny. This man said reading thoughts, inserting thoughts, implanting emotions, putting voice, and they're like, oh, we just read your thoughts as they are. No, they don't just read thoughts. They implant the thoughts and they act like they're the one, try to make you believe that those thoughts are not them manipulating you. They do these things here.
Sent into their head daily. The thoughts are often indistinguishable from your own, but are obvious because they seem out of place compared to your usual thoughts.
So they implant these thoughts, which then they try to gaslight you to make you believe they're not your thought. They're your thoughts, and they're just observing thoughts that aren't being manipulated. And they do more than that. They create these experiences which are brought up. It can make you have sexual arousals, emotions of all sorts, which are meant to degrade you. With me, not only they do that, then they try to gaslight me to make me internalize this, because these experiences are created in this degrading way.
These could be regularly appearing subtle thoughts telling you to kill yourself or to hurt people.
They can elicit strong emotional reactions on people, and they can do it with whatever emotion. We can turn you on right now. We can make you angry. We can make you sad, and they would do it. It was like they press a button, and it just went, and it just would just go away, and I just felt like totally normal.
With me, they'd make me experience this, and they're like, "Oh, we just saw that," and do this behavior where they do this nose campaign, try to make you internalize these things. This documentary brings up all these things. Even, for example, this dream manipulation that I've made so many about. That those are not even just manipulation of dreams, but the dreams have a purpose of conditioning you. Like this. By the way, let me show you how nasty it is. They forcing me to get sexual arousal when this man says this.
And it just would just go away, and I just felt like totally normal.
In the background, there's somebody who's have a stroller. They start stimulating me as he talks about this here.
Make you sad, and they would do it. It was like they press a button. We can turn you on right now. We can make you angry. We can make you sad, and they would do it. It was like they press a button, and it just went, and it just would just go away, and I just felt like totally normal.
The dreams are noticeably different from ordinary dreams in that they are often vulgar or include some kind of trauma, and they are usually more memorable and less abstract.
I was aware for a while that my dreams were being influenced. It's very, very clear that they're using dreams to reinforce the programming, to program the unconscious mind. I'm getting the same thing, some kind of like trauma dream where there's...
They use this dream to like reinforce the programming. Then they realize, for me, they use this little trashy lowlife who I can't wait for them to see the consequences of playing this game. I'm preparing myself mentally to understand that the second this is happening to me, no matter how entitled you are, I'll show you how easy it is to stay in tune with reality of what these people are doing. With me, they do all the same things, but I expect you to just be subscriptive because the way they behave, or the little emotional acts, it's just a gaslighting tactic to make me internalize these things. And then they expect you to just be submissive. Listen, neighbors participate in this. Now, how much of a influencer in regard of like what's happened to you. I don't know. I don't think they're a big deal, but they partake in this, and unfortunately, once again, a few months back in October, guess what happened? Surprised? This happened.
Man is accused of murdering his neighbor.
The crime happened a week ago in a Somerset neighborhood, and today police testified about the bizarre circumstances surrounding the crime, as we're learning more about the case from the 911 calls made after the shooting. WKYT's Phil Pendleton has more on what took place in the case today in Pulaski County. Our top story at 5.
After Adam Roark was shot outside his home on Dogwood Lane, there were 2 911 calls that were made. One came from Roark's wife, who had witnessed the shooting, and the other came from the suspect himself.
911. Yeah, I just wanted to call and say, hey, I just shot Adam Roark. You know, I've been tortured for 5 years now.
James Gleason called to say that he had shot his neighbor, and a detective testified that Gleason told him that torture was his neighbors using direct energy weapons on him.
No. That's last October. Sounds familiar. Sounds like this, perhaps, in 2022.
He is charged with a
Well, you cannot come.
of how he gained access to Dayton Daily News. Police found that his wife Sally Knox. Dayton Daily News. It occurred on August 5th, 2022 in the Butler Township near Dayton, Ohio. Dayton door victims were Sarah Anderson, age 41, Dayton Daily News. Her daughter, Kayla Anderson, age 15, Dayton Daily News. Clyde Knox, age 82, Dayton Daily News. His wife Sally Knox, 78. Dayton Daily News. Marlowe lived nearby with his parents on Haverstraw Avenue, and the victims were his neighbours. Dayton Daily News. Police found the victims fatally shot at multiple crime scenes in a residential area. ABC.
Sounds like this.
Whether the homes were entered by a door.
This failed to come to my aid. My only hope is that you come to understand what has happened here. When the world realizes what has happened, there will be justice, but I cannot sit by and be a victim any longer, and I refuse to sit by and do nothing while my nieces and nephews and the rest of my family are operated on with mind control. To be very clear, this will not be an active shooting event. I will be executing some of the people responsible for activating shooters. If I happen to survive, please visit me in prison, if only to see the same man you have always known, rather than the victim of some mental disorder that does not exist. What you may not understand is that I will gladly die to expose this, and I will gladly die to help one other victim discover the truth of what has happened. If I can help another targeted individual fight back against telepathy, then the sacrifice will be well worth it. To any TIs who read this, understand that your attackers use a form of ventriloquism I described in the paper to move your thoughts, but your thoughts can also move their mouths. To my friends in Chicago, Lexington, Dayton.
You see the trend here? You see the pattern here? This trash being completely discredited and still realizing the slow life that lives around you to try to gaslight me. This is the kind of trash that lives around you to try to gaslight you.
Allô? Peut-être bien vous dire aux enfants. T'as vu ça? Et que tu peux même pas dire Roy Moore. Tu vois? Yeah. Yeah, c'est Roy Moore. Okay. Yeah, wait, top tier. Oui. I think it's called National Defense Network Abuse. Yes. Yes, you're the Aryan Brothers? Yeah, a 14-year-old, right? Yeah, the top tier. Yeah, is that what they start knocking on the door? Yeah. 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 Ok. Elle est toujours me parler. Je vais la buter si elle s'approche. Ok. Et ok, top tier. Ok. Vas-y, ose. Ok. Yeah. He just got here, but he didn't knock on the door. I wonder what happened. Was there something else here? Yeah, okay, NPC. Okay. Tapi tu mana empty NPC gue?
Those are the trashy low life around you that's supposed to gaslight me. Some of them tell me they're gonna frame me with this teenage shit. Excuse my language, but I don't have no love for this. Like my hatred has grown. You know, the most disgusting thing is, you know, you get validation that they torture children and women in such a terrible way. They utilize sexual torture. That's so nasty. But, you know, this is the things that you hear.
Or, you know, please go kill yourself. Or you deserve every bit of this.
Single mothers with young children having to deal with this kind of nastiness. Torturing growing 70-year-old women in this disgusting way.
In her 70s, sent me an email the other day to say she'd been sexually violated for 2 straight hours, and that other things had happened that she just couldn't bring herself to type. I don't think.
With me, the most disgusting part is who's trying to gaslight me to like make me see them as a different thing. The entitlement, the genderism utilized to cover that up is so disgusting. I don't even know if it's a word. I don't know if it, but using gender to camouflage the reality that what this program does to women and even children is that atrocious. Thinking our gender will cover that. At one point, some this trash was standing out in front of me because the female gender supposed to be covering up the torture of women. Like it entitles you to be involved in that. It entitles you as the gender that you have to cover a 7-year-old woman getting sexual torture like that. Disgusting trash. For me, I'm prepping myself because for me, they also utilize it like, oh, this like not feminist like projection, but is in a similar kind of way. I mean, like for all the women whose genitals are being destroyed. 7-year-old women have to deal with 2 hours of pure torture, sexual torture. You think you can cover that up? But what disgusts me is also the children. Listen, I've shown this video in the past in regard of like, I didn't even know if this was real. You know, I wasn't even sure. I wasn't 100% sure if there was the torture of the children. Let me see, seems to have. But the picture of a child like that does show agony. This poor kid here, the kid that you've seen in my video covering his ears because he's suffering. This is actually a child of a target individual, and they're harming the child to torture the target individual. That this is not fair for them. It's not fair that they torture children like that. I should let this little trash live life that they can be involved in a program where they torture children like that. It's not fair, but they're protecting children. And I'm going to let this fucking trash walk around living that reality. That this is their fair. I swear to Lord. They will never delude themselves. This is who is tormenting my brain, manipulating my brain. And so when I see this trash, this entitled low life, some of them not even adults, growing up where this is just their fair. This is not what's not fair about them. That a child suffering like that, in agony like that, it's just not fair. But hey, Look at us as protectors of children. The reason why this trash was saying that is because I made a video about that not too long ago. You see the little babies over there? They do this manipulation, which they were supposed to make me subscribe to this manipulation, as if they're not doing this manipulation and altering my brain in this disgusting way, attacking my mind by having me have this emotion and stimulation when I see these little girls. That I'm supposed to think, no, with you, what we're doing, we're not manipulating your brain, okay? We're pairing your brain to you when you're a child like that. Us involved in something where torturing children like this happens to just be not fair. And so guess who they utilize to have this retardation? Us involved in this here, where children are in agony like this, just pair your brain. Because we protect little girls. Yeah, right. 3-year-old toddlers suffering this agony. You know, the way they just play with my libido, as this man said, the way they can just control your brain in this way, turn everything on, whatever they want it.
Voice, some people hear.
In this way.
Being sent into their head daily. The thoughts are often indistinguishable from your own, but are obvious because they seem out of place compared to your usual thoughts. These could be regularly appearing subtle thoughts telling you to kill yourself or to hurt people.
They can elicit strong emotional reactions on people, and they can do it with whatever emotion. We can turn you on right now. We can make you angry. We can make you sad, and they would do it. It was like they press a button, and it just went, and it just would just go away, and I just felt like totally normal.
These people who are finding this just not fair, right? Putting kids through agony, want me to be thinking that they won't do this nasty manipulation where they can manipulate you to have any kind of emotion and stimulation they want you to have. These unfair things that they're part of. But I should think that, hey, we're just connecting your brain to you when you're that age. You bunch of retard low life. For all the children suffering this agony, I will never allow this low life that you hear, this trashy low life, cover that up. And they go through their little scripts of things like, oh, it's not fair, it's not fair, it's not, it's trash ass. And they're like, oh, no, you're pedos. These people who torture children sexually harming children. Not only physically, but mentally torturing them. As I'm saying that, they try to cover that up in this very, very, very mean way. Like this.
To children, they're implanting children with atrocious dreams, many of them of a sexual nature. And guys, and we have children as young as 3 years old that are hearing voices. They have implanted dreams, very violent and some in sexual nature.
Sounds familiar. You should hear why this low life say VIP took it to try to make me subscribe to this. Like they talk about mouth, and you can only imagine what kind of imagination they want me to have. But the level of diabolism that's applied and how they torture children consists of sexual nature. 3-year-old toddlers tortured sexually, molesting children using this technology and thinking that I'm gonna be like, oh, that's just not fair. Putting kids through agony of sexual nature.
Been in a mild state for a while when I has Down syndrome. And I also work with a 4-year-old little girl with Down syndrome, as well as her 5-year-old sister who also has Down syndrome. I observed both of these girls suddenly grabbing their genitals in pain and verbalizing, ow.
Sexual tortures. Molesting children using technology that, just like the 7-year-old that was saying that they were targeting her genitals, saying that for 2 hours. Doing this.
In her 70s, sent me an email the other day to say
do that to a 4 and 5-year-old child or children with Down syndrome.
She'd been sexually violated for 2 straight hours.
And then try to send this disgusting low life that you heard is some little retarded thing that they think their purpose is to cover up the horror and the atrocious things they're part of. that can make children be in agony of this level. And you think I'm going to let them just call that unfair? You're going to let these children be tortured like that and allow some disgusting known, and then try to make me accepting of the way they've known to be attacking the brain. That these fuckers are people who protect children. For me, this video has been a way to just stay strong, because I know that what this program does, and if you don't know, it's this. This is all about what this is.
Sometimes you hear voices, some people hear voices, thoughts and inserting thoughts. Sometimes you hear voices, some people hear voices, putting emotions into your head and using all this information to drive you crazy.
They're assessing all the different tactical ways they can torment you and break you down psychologically. Pedophilia type of torture is one of many tactics, but it's one of effective tactic that's been applied on others. So they make you have the stimulation, the sensations. In my case, they're like, oh no, but it matches to you as a kid. And then they're like, oh, but I remember you as a kid. When they're here torturing children, 4-year-old, 5-year-old, attacking the genitals, even forcing children having sexual dreams. And thinking that they can send some clown like this, some losers that don't even understand that if they did that in front of me, you think I will restrain myself and I'll let them play their little emotion? When you see children suffering like that in this agony, you think I can let this shit like this?
Hello? Yeah, the top tier? Yeah. Is that what they start knocking on the door? Yeah. Yeah. Ok. Elle veut toujours nous parler. Je vais la buter si elle s'approche. Ok. Et ok, top tier. Ok. Vas-y, ose. Ok.
Yeah. It's trash.
He just got here, but he didn't knock on the door. I wonder what.
Involved in program where this level of abuses is harming children, where you see the faces of children in agony like this. Imagine being a parent, seeing your child being abused in this way. You can do nothing about it. And you think it's some teenage trashy lowlife around here can cover that up. You know what they're trying to, as I was showing this, I heard this trash something in her mouth. Try to exaggerate what a child at that age did, which in this case I'm talking about me as a kid. Try to exaggerate, thinking that if they start making things up about in the mouth, it's gonna cover up this. And these are not adults doing that, so you know that they're grooming, they're training. Their job, their purpose, their task, their goal is to negate how they torture and abuse children. Where they put kids through this kind of agony and think that they can bring up and exaggerate things, talk about in the mouth of what a child did to himself, to try to counter that they are abusing, torturing, tormenting even toddlers with sexual dreams. Because what they want you to, as a target major, for me, what they try to do is really try to make me accept of this pedophilia type of torture they know to be doing to people. But how does it work when you're involved in something where it's not fair, you torture children and put them in this agony? When others are bringing up the fact they do this pedophilia type of tormenting. Like this man.
They switched over. They were saying a lot of homosexual things to me. Once that really didn't fly, as far as, getting me mad or whatever, they switched over to talking a lot about pedophilia, and that was happening.
By the way, they tried to do the same thing with gay, homosexual things. They didn't care too much about it. They didn't do much. But the pedophilia type of thing is always going to be something that can torment anybody. And these clowns think the way they're going to make me subscribe to this, like, no, but I remember what you did as a child. All along they thought, okay, what we're going to do as we design the torturous ways of breaking you down and wear you down psychology and attack you psychologically is what we're going to do is we're going to make you have this emotion, this stimulation, this sensation that we're going to force you to experience as they can do. Make you have dreams that they're going to be used to condition you. Have this little retard, trashy lowlife who find fun in doing this, who gamify a program where it's unfair to torture children, where children are suffering like that, and I hear this fucking lowlife saying it's not fair, and be like, with you, we're just pairing with you as a kid. Bunch of retard when everybody's saying the same thing, and then to try to counter that's like, oh, he does. Like, really? Nah. How much of a genius am I to be able to figure that out? I wonder what gives me the clue.
Inserting thoughts. Sometimes you hear voices, some people hear voices. Putting emotions into your head and using all this information to drive you crazy.
I wonder where I'm getting this information from. Obviously, I knew that even before that. But the thing is, they do this systematically to others. And guess what? What happens? Some target individuals lose their mind, and guess what they do?
Neighbor. The crime happened a week ago in a Somerset neighborhood.
They dare to do what?
Kentucky man is accused of murder.
They dare to do what?
A Kentucky man is accused of murdering his neighbor.
The crime happened a week ago in a Somerset neighborhood, and today police testified about the bizarre circumstances surrounding the crime, as we're learning more about the case from the 911 calls made after the shooting. WKYT's Phil Pendleton has more on what took place in the case today in Pulaski County. Our top story at 5.
After Adam Roark was shot outside his home on Dogwood Lane, there were 2 911 calls that were made. One came from Roark's wife, who had witnessed the shooting, and the other came from the suspect himself.
911. Yeah, I just wanted to call and say, hey, I just shot Adam Roark. You know, I've been tortured for 5 years now.
James Gleason called to say that he had shot his neighbor, and a detective testified that Gleason told him that torture was his neighbors using direct energy weapons on him.
No ass.
Surprise. Again. And this low life thing, they can promise how easily. Listen, for me, I knew all along that's what they do. I thank God for this documentary, and I hope that we continue to make documentaries, and we continue to expose the obvious here, because it's becoming more obvious that this is a tactic to break people down and psychological torment people. And this is a program that harms the most vulnerable babies and children, and even grandmothers, and all elders are being sexually tortured. Whatever is around you that's supposed to gaslight you, this little trashy low life, for me, the most disgusting thing is when they're more exposed, what happens to them? They become more aggressively trying to gaslight you. And I can't wait to face them, because when you see children in this level of agony, and what they can try to counter is, oh, it's not fair, we torture children. It's like, it's not fair, you're right. I wonder what's not fair that should happen to you. By the way, this trash involving something where this thing is what they call unfair, because they're part of that. Want me to think that this here is something I should be subscriptive of, that these little kids, the way I'm being forced to experience what I'm experiencing when I see them, should be just thought as like pairing. Yeah, these people here who can impair this unfairness happening to this child. These people who, weirdly enough,
things that it uses to destroy you.
At first they were saying a lot of homosexual things to me. Once that really didn't fly, as far as, you know, getting me mad or whatever, they switched over to talking a lot about pedophilia. And
weirdly enough, or involving this.
And inserting thoughts. Sometimes you hear voices, some people hear voices. putting emotions into your head and using all this information to drive you crazy, to torture you.
Oh, no, but it should make sense. They're matching to me as a child. And the best part is what their tactic. One of the main tactic is, for me, they're utilizing perps that aren't fully mentally developed, but it's done by design, because they think this nonsensical, driven by non-adults, is gonna disorient me enough to be subscriptive of it, when I know all along what they're trying to do is distract me, disorient me enough with this retardation around me, not knowing that what they're doing is just preparing me to see this low life, this non-adult trash, for some prideful low life involved in a program where they are here killing and torturing children, and growing up thinking that their childishness can be utilized to cover up the obvious here. So guess what will happen if they do that in front of me? You think I'm going to handle that as if just regular children just acting childish? No. For all these agonies that they will pridefully try to negate, then try to paint themselves as the protector of children. No. I can't. No. We talk about the sufferance and the agony of children here. I don't care who's going to cover that up or who's trying to cover that up. It's not going to happen. And then whatever disgusting things they've been playing in my brain to push me into insanity, there has to be a consequence for that. To those thinking that I'm going to let that happen, I promise you it's going to be bad. I've never seen something so dismantled in regard to a psyop, and still expect me to let them live this fantasy. I know they're going to attack my mind with this disgusting manipulation. That's the things they do. It's supposed to drive people into insanity, psychological torture, and unfortunately some target individuals have lost their mind and even killed his next door neighbors partaking in this. With me, your gender, whatever, it's not cover that up. And I thank all target individuals speaking up. I think it's important for us to speak up about what's happening to us, because we're gonna find correlation. It's too systematic. People all around the world say the same thing. Let's not be timid about what happens to us, even psychological, because I know some of the things are grotesque. This 70-year-old who gets sexual torture, these are things that she didn't want to say. And I guarantee you, that's something that she doesn't want to say, is being done to others. I will never allow this life to live this fantasy. And we gotta be strong. And we gotta speak. It's important. I thank everybody who made this documentary. It is well done. It's not, they could have gone deeper in regard of like the level of manipulation and torment, which is good. They didn't. But every line that needed to be mentioned was mentioned. The most disturbing part I just realized through looking through the documentary is this whole Epstein thing. So listen, I don't know the extent of the Epstein and his interest in this kind of technology, but there was a letter sent to the Attorney General, the Assistant Attorney General of the Southern New York District or something like that, and this person was calling out that this technology are extensively used to molest children. And as they're describing this technology, and it's true, because I've heard multiple times sexual torture, and then when I look deeper, it is a trend that sexual harm, not only to women and men, like the 7-year-old woman, but to children. You heard a 4-year-old and 5-year-old and even 3-year-old being sexually tortured. They're molesting these children using this technology. And then present themselves as protectors of children. Then they have this trash around me. You know how nasty it is? That's when you know this low life living in a realm that's so disturbing. They tell me they frame me with this trash. Oh, curse this trash. Let them be the trash for the rest of their life. Let them grow up in trash. Not physical trash, but be mind of trashiness. Let them manifest all this trashiness to their life. They talk about all this horrible, atrocious torture that I'm going to deal with because they try to compensate for the obviousness of what they're part of. It's going to be theatrical. Because being involved in a program where utilizing this advanced technology to molest children, to torture children, to abuse children in all different ways, sexual torture, which is this molesting tactics, mental torture, traumatize children, push children to have agony and abuses that will make this boy in this agony. These trash are disgusting. You hear this trash bringing up what ideas a child to exaggerate and be like, that's abuse, when this low life are this abusive to children. This is the abusiveness of what the fucking low life. So you send some trash, you low life. You know how little it takes to do what this disgusting trash do? I can feel sorry for the rage and anger, but I needed to express myself because there's a lot of gaslighting happening as I'm dealing with the V2K and synthetic telepathy that does what these people described. On top of that, I deal with this disgusting next door neighbors. So, and it's not even just them. Wherever I go, there's participants, co-workers, which, like I said, the reveal of this industry will make the most sense. By the way, let's just say that this industry is mentioned in there. So I can just stay strong.